So, someone shared this Reddit post with me recently, and I honestly couldn't believe something like this was in the game. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised because there are so many hidden things that I would have never even considered trying when I was playing normally. But you guys know that I love Abdirak, so when I saw this post, I was instantly intrigued. The post said that taking your gear off during Abdirak's scene in the Goblin Camp would give you a +4 bonus to your rolls during it. I knew I had to try it out immediately. So I hopped into BG3 and loaded up a previous save on my bard, and then proceeded to strip all of Tav's gear off to see if this actually worked. Sure enough, as soon as I agreed to Abdirak's attentions and approached the wall, the buff appeared called Ardent Apostle that grants a +4 bonus to performance and intimidation checks. This makes passing all of the rolls a lot easier, so it's a really simple way to make sure you ace them all without much additional effort, really. But what's most impressive is that such occasions exist in the game at all. It's so awesome to me because I would never think to take my clothes off just to be whipped. I mean, I totally understand doing it because I have done as much for romance scenes in the past, but most of the time I'm too lazy to consider trying all of these things out. But knowing that it exists really gets my mind wondering what else is in the game like this. It makes me start wondering with each interaction what I might be able to do that would affect it differently, even down to taking your gear off. It's just amazing. And I love the attention to detail. I love that doing different things actually affects what happens in the game because lately it just feels like nothing you do ever matters. It's very refreshing to see this sort of thing though, you know? One thing that kind of sucks about the whole scene, though, is that I've noticed Abdirak is looking a little worse for wear lately, and I have to say that I personally don't approve of his new look. I mean, even those who engaged in self-flagellation used to just flog their own back so that they could easily cover it up. I can't imagine that such a beautiful man would be alright with completely ruining his face like that. I found myself curious if this sort of thing was accurate based off the lore, since it feels more like a direct change to maybe make us find him less attractive. And wouldn't you know, I found this little snippet while I was looking around. It says, "Beauty, intelligence, and acting are useful attributes, but the ability to fully understand someone is the best skill a Leviathan can acquire, as knowing someone fully can help a Leviathan inflict maximum pain one way or another." And to me, that makes perfect sense, that beauty would be a very desirable trait. It was also interesting to read that priests of Leviatar are typically female, and it sounds like Abdirak, if anything, is maybe a pain, which are said to move from place to place and ensure that the goddess's will is carried out. They serve as envoys and secret agents of the church. Now, there was one thing I found, but I don't know that it fits Abdirak's situation. But it said, during warfare, priestesses of Leviatar scourged their naked shoulders or scratched their cheeks with their nails to evoke magic. But since Abdirak is not actively in a war, and it's likely he's not even a priest, then his face should probably not be this messed up. And in looking up specific Leviathan rituals, it seems self-flagellation with a whip is most common, while kneeling, as people used to do it way back in the Middle Ages too. So I'm going to make a little plea here and say, for accuracy's sake, that we need to let up on the insane amount of injury and wounds to poor Abdirak's face. I mean, I would still like him, but it's definitely not as attractive when a man's face is covered in blood. I would just like to find a nice middle ground. For the longest time, he had nothing on his face, and now he's just covered in injuries and scars. And speaking of looks, I also have to ask, what in the actual heck is wrong with my tiefling Tav's body here? I noticed during the stream that it looked really weird during the romance scene with Astarion, but here you can see it with even more detail. There are actual seams on the shoulders and weird patchiness all over her body. Like, look at how lumpy her legs look. Very weird. They must be doing some work to the model textures because I seem to recall that it was rather polished looking before. So tell me, are you going to jump into the game and try this out for yourself? Do you foresee a new ritual for the Abdirak scene in future games going forward? Better yet, what do you think of Abdirak's look? Did it look better before, or are you happy with his gory appearance now? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you know of any weird things that exist in the game, I'd love to hear about them. Leave a comment or send me a message through my website. This sort of thing is always really interesting to me, and many of the scenes I've heard about have been in the game for quite some time already. I've put 560 hours into this game, so I love that even in Act 1's early access that there are so many things I've never done or seen before. I also want to make a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to help the channel out, please consider pledging, as I don't make nearly enough from ad revenue to support the amount of time and effort I put into creating content. It used to be pretty decent money, but they've chopped revenue down by at least 40%, if not more in some cases. I try to keep the page updated with extra content for you guys too. Sometimes I play games, and sometimes I narrate fanfic. I also have all of my books listed there to read, as well as art I post of the characters, so take a look and pledge what you can if you can. I've got a ton of content in the works though, and I'm going to be actively working on getting some Dragon Age Inquisition content added, as well as theory stuff for Dragon Age 4 Dreadwolf. I'm also keeping Mass Effect in the loop and have a pretty long list of ideas covering all of these different games. I'm really interested in getting some videos of the romances completed too from some of these games. I might even be making a couple new ARC videos too, since a lot of those resource guides I did are doing pretty well now, and I've had people asking if I'm going to be making more ARC stuff. It's just going to be a matter of unwrapping it all over time, and I still have to finish streaming my BG3 game too, which I haven't forgotten about. Alright guys, that's it for now. I'll see y'all later.